We'll just
It's
have
so cute.
this little head.
We'll just see
It's amazing we've done
the
all this time and he hasn't been in.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Cindy.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was Tanya asking, how does she get away with them not just waking up and not, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to sit down? You can sit down, Bubba, or you have to, yeah. Okay.
Yep. He's totally in for the sit.
Yeah.
He's going to shed some light on it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. How's everything going?
Well, I've had a really funny couple of days.
Mm?
I've been as Fergal was reflecting,
and left the room quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just been. I don't really even know what it is. It's not like there's been a particular incident or anything in particular that's triggered it. I've just had this low line. I've just been annoyed actually, and it's played out a little bit with Fergal.
Yep.
And I've been quite tired. So today when Paddy was sleeping, I slept as much as I could.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can't really pinpoint what it is.
Is there a common denominator in the reactive playground?
Probably annoyed.
Probably
annoyed. There's been a little bit of anger.
Yeah, okay.
And I got a little bit of relief last night. And that was when I said sorry to myself.
Yep.
And that actually shifted me and actually shifted my energy a bit as well.
Okay, is there a bit of expectation of self?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. There could be. Oh, that's better.
He's actually playing out continuously to the frequency that's obviously relevant. That's why he's here tonight, and that would make a lot of sense. Yeah. Because he is the reflective zone of your being. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So him and his playing out and perhaps what would we be like? Oh, it would be nice for him to, thinking it would be nice for him to be there, but we're not forcing that because it is what it is. That to me is still meaning the essence of your energy. He's reflecting that still back to us right here, right now, which is really cool in reflection. Whereas a lot of people, okay, get rid of this is just not, this is my time, blah, 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 which would create more of a bigger scale. But just us allowing it an awareness, let's see if it can move even that, and whether that reflectively finds him in a space that he's ready to move on, which would be reflective in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he's now positioned himself in my chair. He's got your cards and he's handing them out.
He's doing some self-alignment therapy for you.
Which card do I need, Bubba? Give
how
me a
gorgeous,
card, Bubs.
How gorgeous is that?
Heaven.
Yeah, that is bliss.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, Ali, because one of the things that triggered was we had these designers come in to look at doing a renovation for us, and they said, we'll send through the proposal in a week. And then I text them 2 weeks later and I said, where are you at? And they said, he goes, I'll send it to you in a few days. Yep. And then it was 2 weeks, and then I text him again, and I didn't hear from him, but it eventually came through. And I was like, and that's about renovating the house. And I was like,
which is renovation of self. Yeah, you knew that. I'll tell the listeners it's renovation of self, but that's okay. The funniest thing about that is even the expectation of self is playing out in the expectation of them getting back to you.
Yeah.
So what sort of pressure are you putting on in life with your expectations?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting because it played out again with my accountant. I was asking him a question and, you know, I hadn't heard anything for 2 weeks and I was like,
this common denominator of 2 weeks seems to be playing out.
I know, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? So what was your question, the expectation about?
Well, what expectation of self have you got going on?
Yeah.
Instead of just accepting yourself in every moment, is there an expectation of how you should be?
Oh, that's quite interesting. Because if anything, I'm really aware of my need to rest at the moment, and so I've been okay with that. But also, yeah. Oh wait, Patty, no, don't eat the cards.
You can source another packet if he's that hungry.
Yeah, it's true. It is the one I picked today, though. What thoughts am I feeling?
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
It is actually the exact card I picked today.
Has it got the painting name on it by any chance?
Yeah, I am the master of my own thoughts. I think it's the emotional one, Al.
Okay. The blue, is it blue?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, okay. That's interesting when you've got the emotion stuff going on underneath everything and to do with your self-expectation. So there's obviously something in your subconscious, you know, that you're strategically thinking that's triggering this. Yeah.
You know, I did have one thing like come up today that gave me a little bit of relief, and that was just coming to terms with every experience that I've chosen for myself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think a bit of that was, you know, when I said that, you know, when I said sorry to myself last night, and that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I can feel that coming up again, actually.
Yeah.
What do you think, Patty?
Yep. Are you hearing that, Mum? He's saying, can you get there? Yeah.
No, I need to leave them in, darling. Or we can pull it out.
I think coming to terms with every experience of yourself, it's really interesting because Murray also had one this week and he goes, I chose to be here or something. I chose whatever it was, and he had a realization of that this week as well. So it kind of resonates with me in what you're saying. The apology to yourself is, I think that's the giveaway on how harsh you've been to yourself or are being to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I can feel that now. Yeah. Thanks for the cuddle.
I know. He understands. It's a good example of energy exchange and awareness that as a mother-child playing out instead of like reading life through the child back to you. That Patty's giving us. Like, you know, this, you know, from starting off where you're starting the Noid and the Fergal stuff, and I can imagine it would have flipped more into Fergal's than Patty's because you've created this awareness with it. Do you know what I mean? But in this particular moment, Patty's making sure you don't miss it. You know, it's relevant and it's right in front of your face and all of ours at the same time. So. Yeah,
he's trying to put the headphones back in.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a majorly like anything new. I think it's probably, you know how we were talking about the formulation of ourselves and last week, and how we can be aware of what we're saying and doing, and then slipping not quietly, you know, delivering what we think we're delivering, what you know that whatever. And presenting that format to somebody, but really then behind that we can actually see a difference.
Yeah.
And I think it's that awareness, and I think that might be the one where you're probably being a bit hard on yourself. Yeah. I think that could be playing out. I know. That's where I'm kind of going with it. And that whole coming to terms with every experience, that's just a self-acceptance and a self-love, like, and a forgiving and an allowing, and you know, yeah.
Oh, the forgiving really resonates.
Yeah.
That really.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we do with what we have, with the information that we know at that particular moment. So you can't.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. And that, you know, you do the best you have with the information you know right here, right now. Yet in a year's time, you may be that much wiser, but you can't utilize it back to this point because that's all you had at that particular moment, in every moment through your life. Do you know? So there's, I think there's just an acceptance, an acceptance and forgiving for that. Yeah. So we don't even need to know. I think it's really clear. You don't even need to know what the core of it is. It's just an awareness of understanding. Have you ever watched the movie The Shack, or read the book The Shack?
No.
Yes. I watched it last night, and I'd read it years and years and years and years and years ago. And it is about forgiveness, and it was about, I don't know, look, a make it up movie, whatever you want to be, or real, but it had actually, the guy's lost his daughter. Someone took off with him, whatever, and anyway, she died anyway, and the forgiveness around that, and the journey. It'd be a good movie or a good book to read if you ever get.
Beautiful. Thank you. I actually can't feel so much softer.
Yeah,
I feel so much softer.
Yeah, cool. I think that's that whole thing, that stop being so hard on ourselves, and that forgiving and allowing, and that and just understanding that life is what it is, and we do the best with what we've got at this particular moment in time, so be it what it is. And we can look back and reflect, but we did all that we knew at that particular moment to be the best of what we can be.
Yeah. Oh, that feels so true.
That's so cool. Good on Paddy. Thank you, Paddy, for turning up tonight. He's done his job well.
He's very happy. He's got my journal. He's got a pen. He's surrounded by all these self-alignment cards.
He's
doing a journal entry.
Wonderful. How cool is that? That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, and was that one of many, or is that just is that probably the bulk of the lot that's underlying this week?
I think that's what's been underlying my week. Let me sit and see if anything else comes up, but I think that. I think,
nice.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's been sizzling away under there.
Yeah.
And,
I think in reflection is like it's a very core issue, that how much we do beat ourselves up with. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was nice and easy. Jesus, we'll be done by 5:30.
I do believe we've said that before.
Yeah. Meanwhile, then I'll get on my ramble. Which is interesting, which may lead to. I was actually thinking a bit tonight about, life speaking to us in reflection with all that's around us, and sharing an understanding of that. So obviously that with Virgo and Paddy coming in so early, and Paddy doing whatever Paddy's doing, and us reading through Paddy back to you, that whole sense of awareness of how simply life can talk to us, and it's in front of us all the time. And that's cool. Okay, we'll flip on.
That's beautiful.
We'll flip on to Cindy. And how are you going in life, Cindy?
Yeah, okay. I think I've had lots of, ups and downs. I actually struggled last week. I somehow injured my back.
Yeah.
And I have this thing of hurting myself in my sleep. And I've been quite curious about it for a little while, and I decided to let it go. But I hurt myself quite badly, my back, and I actually don't know how I did it. And I was in a lot of pain. And
Wow.
Yeah, like somebody said to me today, I thought you were depressed. And I was like, no, I was just in pain.
Yeah, well, that's pretty depressing pain. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just didn't have I felt quite nauseous with it. And so that kind of played out last week. But and the week before. So yeah, I've been treated, and today I was just like, oh my God, I feel so like a different person. Like I felt amazing. Like I don't know, just amazing. Like there was a massive shift in my physical, and therefore it played out on my emotional. I feel like that's been a big thing.
So you look at the physical injury as the movement that's gone through, like whatever's gone on with your sleeping and whatever that's created has been the symbolic shift.
I'm curious because my doctor said like these are sports injuries that you're giving yourself.
Wow.
Like I'm dislocating my wrists, my fingers, my thumb. Yeah. And it happens quite regularly. I sleep on my hands sometimes.
Yep.
But
have you looked at the subconscious emotion attached to the like the injured part?
No, but I've tried to look up, just Google injuring yourself during the night, and I can't get anything on a psychological level. And I wondered if that was playing out somehow.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the injuries that you're creating are giving you the emotional information through the injury.
Yeah, right. That's interesting. I didn't actually think of the body.
Can I just sneak out for a minute and grab a book with information on that? And I think that might be relevant. Yes, thanks, Patty. I'll be back shortly.
He is like a mini you. It's just every time I say, oh my gosh. So every time I see him, it's more like you. It's amazing. And your haircuts maybe at the moment are looking quite,
Oh, you guys are good.
I was laughing at the fact that this
so
is
funny.
Right. Do you want to go and find Dada now?
Yeah, you guys are so good. My husband's sneakily eating chocolate out there, and as I walk out, he hides it underneath the blanket, and I'm going.
How cute is that?
Yes, it's not really that cute. It's
just for you, probably not, but for me,
no, it's not my issue anyway. I just laugh because it's like, that's why I had to leave, trusting life to show me the truth of what goes on when I'm not actually there. So, perfect interruption. So if you tell me what was it? What particular thing happened? So we'll go with the ailment that happened this week.
So last week, I did something to my thoracic, my lumbar, and the connective muscles. Is that what it's called, in between some ribs?
Okay, so would we go like?
And it's all on the left side as well. Only the left side. Okay,
so we'll go left side's usually, is that masculine, feminine?
I don't know.
I think that's...
Is it feminine?
Yeah, I think it's feminine. I'm feeling right's physical. So left would be feminine and spiritual, right? Okay. And then we're going to... I'm wondering whether I just do back in general.
Yeah, because I think there was... Yeah.
Although it doesn't have back in general. That'd be right. Let's see what else are the symbolic.
And there was neck as well. Like it was a complete fuck up.
So would that be spine then? Do you think?
Sure. Let's go spine.
Okay, let's have a look if we have a spine. A spine. Okay, we'll go spine just for the hell of it because we can, and it actually has something written about it. Spine. Okay, so then we get down to the neck region, and then we've got, so literally this book that I've got, I'll show just in case anyone's looking, Secret Language of the Body, written by Ina Segal. And it literally gives you, well, I believe it gives you like a subconscious emotion understanding, but she actually gives you healing techniques through it to obviously give focus to. Mine's more about giving clarity and understanding and bringing awareness, so then it can just shift simply, and he's shot the light, that dude. And so I'm thinking cervical, it's got neck region, so if you went into neck, so we'll just use it as an example. The neck region, which would be under a C1, it's feelings of fear, confusion, fight or flight, wanting to run away from problems and responsibilities, feelings insecure, not good enough, not focused, not good enough, too focused on other people's opinions, taking on other people's problems, difficulty saying no, playing mind games. On the physical level, we may experience headaches, migraines, difficult sleeping, dizziness, exhaustion, nervous breakdown, anxiety. These feelings affect your sympathetic nervous system, pituitary gland, brain, and middle ear. Now, understandably so, it's not tick every box, but what I would say if anybody was reading something like this is if you feel it, own it. Yeah. And so literally you would go through this, and honestly that's just giving a subconscious emotion to and it goes all the way through the small intestines to your heart and your feet, right foot, left foot, eyes, ears, brain, whatever. But it's an information center about understanding the subconscious emotion attached to what's going on within your system. Even with so for me, when an athlete's getting injured, as much as they blame every element of the road service, falling off a bike, doing whatever, or just playing sport and spraining an ankle, do whatever, and they go, oh, this is just one of those things that happen. If they actually looked into the subconscious emotion attached to that, it probably could be information. But if they'd caught that before that, it would have stopped that creation of manifesting. Yeah.
The most painful one was ribs, and I'm kind of curious about that.
Okay, let's have a look.
And also, what is interesting, and I've known it for a long time, I will do a particular, so I've had lots of injuries on my left leg. And so it'll be left leg always. Okay. Or right leg, or whatever it is. But a lot will happen to one side of a particular, it's not all over the place.
No. Do you think your left side's more informative than your right side? Like it happens more left side?
No.
So it's pretty, it's either one or the other. Okay. I've got a rib cage. Okay. Rib cage is feeling stuck, overburdened. I overburdened 2 weeks ago. That would make sense with your work that you were talking to me about. Consumed by constant self-doubt, which regulates, sabotages your plans. The structures of your life have been built on fear, limitation, and control. You need to break down old ways of thinking, feeling, and being, and embrace new possibilities. Does any of that resonate?
Oh, yeah, just a little bit.
So do you understand what I'm saying about our body as an information centre? But the funniest thing is if we start living in so much more awareness, we get it before it becomes a physical ailment. The physical ailments is because we've missed the simple symbology, like what Patty is doing to us tonight, and awareness for Gabrielle is bringing that awareness. If she doesn't catch that at that particular moment, then it becomes to manifest something in the physical. So it stops her. And which becomes the accidents and the injuries and the illnesses and the whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I know that I'm aware of that, and I know that that's what happened. That's the way that's happened in my life.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think the big thing I can, and I'd like to reiterate, especially just in case anybody does watch this thing, is that don't take it all as gospel. Take it as a grain of salt, as an information understanding about what's possibly going on within your life experience, and don't dwell on it as something is wrong with you. It's information to help you look at life slightly different with an awareness of. And so don't focus on what's wrong, because you get more of it. So, and like, don't always look at it as an ailment. I mean, Inna uses it as a remedy. She tells you what, rub your hands together and focus on your breathing, do colours and all sorts of information. So if you're into that sort of stuff, that's the place to go and play. Yet the reality for me that I would like to stimulate in consciousness creation is that we can shift it in awareness. Bring our awareness into the way we're actually thinking, talking, speaking, acting, being, and therefore that would shift it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to look at the book.
No. Well, to me, the book's a good starting point for understanding another playground to get to know who you are in the function of the space of your being. Yet the reality is that you're already doing it in aspects of what we're doing here right now, talking, bringing to awareness and stuff before it gets to a physical ailment.
Yeah.
But I also find it as a really great information. I use it, like I've got an athlete that I've shared, he'll ask me what's going on and I'll talk muscles, and he'll give me, I'll give him information on what the muscles are actually telling me on an emotional level, and then he can connect to anything he's feeling, and most of the time it's bang on perfect. And with the shift of awareness, and we talk about the mental, what's going on in his mental state, what he's thinking, doing, whatever, and you can shift that and the injury heals.
Yeah.
So your legs, just for more sharing, sharing, which leg would you go, right or left?
Oh, so it's my right leg.
Okay. First, we'll do general legs, which is feeling overwhelmed by pressure, which you see the repetitive, that pressure thing. So subconsciously, if you moved that space, that's two ailments that can just not have to tell you that. But anyway, strain and demands on your life, that's the overwhelmed pressure. Frightened by the obstacles you perceive to be in your way, you're carrying a heavy load of unresolved issues from past, weighing down, feeling unsupported, buying into self-doubt and insecurity. Now remember, these are just fractions of elements and not all are going to be yours. But there's possibly one or two that are. So if we went to the right leg, you'd have difficulty in taking action, feeling undermined, restricted, insecure, unsupported, unsteady, moving in the wrong direction, sabotaging yourself, resisting the flow of life, not giving yourself enough time to tune in and become clear about your purpose. Now, at the end of the day, there's and like I said, no, that's good. That's good, because humour is the best way to deal with it. It's a high vibrational frequency. So, but the idea is that not to get consumed by something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
The idea is that there is so much information being shared about that through your body. Life is, and I think this is what I was kind of put out, what's tonight about, and we're really getting this. Life is, it reflects to us all the information we need to know and understanding of ourselves through the experience. We just have an awareness. You can do that. You can, you're totally open to reading your life through without having to go anywhere or do anything. So, with that awareness, that might give you some insights to what's going on. So even freakily as you're dreaming, like you say, it's another alternate reality if we want to get into that space. But even while you're dreaming or sleeping, and you're still coming out with those, isn't that interesting that it's still creating information? So it's all right here, right now. I'd do it more simply than, just the awareness in everyday's thinking in every option. And the other thing, in all fairness, is what I find is as people are transitioning and taking more responsibility and stuff, things like this do come up, and because the density of the old functioning system. Thanks, Gabriel. we're just cleaning that out.
I feel better.
Awesome.
We all do, as a collective. But I don't know where I was going.
Sorry,
no, that's good. It's good. But yeah, I'll just dribble on from there. With awareness of what the information is coming is not to, and I want to just reiterate it. We'll go back to that. I just want to reiterate it. Don't look at it as an issue. Look at it as information. As soon as you look at it as an issue, it becomes a problem, and you focus. And the more focus you give, the more it becomes. With awareness, you have the choice and shift. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The whole reality of as the evolution of yourself, if you want to get into that sort of stuff and make it as something, is that the shifts and change your body's reflecting. So literally, all that stuff that we've read is you can look at it as that's what you're moving through.
Cool. Yeah.
Instead of holding it as I have this issue and this is something wrong with me, it's I'm transitioning through something and the body's just readjusting itself to coping with the new facility that I'm running or whatever.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Well, maybe that comes to me then, because that makes, like, if we're looking from Gabrielle's and reflective family stuff and right in our face at the beginning, and now with you're talking physical body, I'll go to a step different. Okay, I'll go to something like our trip away and the symbology that I've had since being back, how it's speaking to me, which is more catching it further afield again. Do you know what I mean? So you've got family, and then you've got I'd say physicality as in information, painfully as family is here, maybe just a little bit further out. Just in tonight's scenario anyway, I want to go a step further out. Okay, so I'm going to use my experiences now, which kind of incorporates all of us, which is totally bang on and not knowing what we're talking about. But so for me, I had a symbolic duck I drew up in Gold Coast while I was there, and I haven't done any drawing for ages, so take note, Ellie. See how simple that was? Instead of having the family tell me or the body tell me. Admittingly, my body indicator in Cindy is that I've realised that it's pain-free in a Queensland environment than it is in a Victorian environment. So I'm not denying there's aspects of that go on. You know, that's a reality. But here's a simple version of, I drew a duck, symbology in a duck. And if you Google, you know, the meaning of a duck, whether it be spiritual, emotional, physical, whatever, however you want to Google it, whatever, and find something that resonates with you and you feel it. So as you did with your, Gabrielle did with her family, and you did with the body information, I'm doing with a duck drawing. Okay, and it's talking to me about living in a warmer climate and having having alternate climates, so I can be the climate. I adjust the climates to suit me. So it's not talking one place; it's talking two places at least, which is quite funny. And then I had a dream the other night. So here's the night version. Mine's not actually physically doing body damage. I'm having a dream of the snake, remembering the snake. Now and it was a very pleasant dream. I just woke up and I was totally aware, totally calm, and just thinking, well, that was really interesting, kind of grey snake kind of thing. And oh, did it bite me? Maybe it bit me. Oh yeah, I've got two. So here's the number 2 again. 2 marks on my hands, you know, like just like that, so, you know, 2 little dots. And so I'm kind of thinking, oh, this is kind of curious. Didn't think much of it. Then I looked up the symbology of finding a snake. Now, most of it's done out of fear of snakes, chasing, you know, it had a whole lot of negative, just couldn't resonate. I just didn't resonate to it. So again, it's picking that thing that you feel it. But then there's another thing, is this kind of initiation thing was vibrating with the snake, like something's going on a another consciousness, it's some sort of initiation, and make a story, whatever you want it to be. And so I've got this whole snake thing going on. Well, I went and got my new glasses, and my glasses have got a Cyrus or something or whatever. Well, I Googled the meaning, and it's an Egyptian god, underwater god. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I've got the vision of an underwater god. What the fuck? But, like, seriously, I can make anything out of, whatever. Reality-wise is the strength of information and the playing grounds that I play in. This is very reflected to my soul and being. This is all information that's telling me more of what goes on inside here. The information that flows through. It's literally what I share and the non-judgmental role in the space that I share. So then, weirdly enough, I go and watch that movie that I've just referred to, The Shack. Now, Murray's had it saved on the thing for months, and I just not felt like it. So this is all in 1 week, reflecting back to me to look at and watch this movie. So I'm watching this movie, and they go into the shack, and this he's gone back to deal with the death of his daughter, and he thinks he's gone back to the shack. Anyway, he's back at the shack, and he's actually gone to visit what she called a god, which is a black lady, and dealing with trust and dealing with wisdom and dealing with forgiveness and and I'm kind of laughing, and they're set up in this old shack, which just looks amazing now, and he's come to stay, but he's having to deal with a whole lot of aspects. Now, the symbology for me was, that's the vision I've had many moons ago, as people coming and going. Now, when I listened to how she spoke, it reminded me of me. So I think what I'm seeing in life reflecting to me is this whole transformation of what I share is becoming more into play. So dark's definitely to do with work ethic stuff too. So one of the things is, potential business stuff and all that, which was funny because my sister rang me on the beach with all the artwork going into the galleries, and then you had your friend who's actually made contacts and stuff. So there's this whole, and so the dark got the tick, tick, tick. And so that's how I read life. When it gets to the physical, I've missed a lot of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Another symbology is how I read life. So if we're driving along, like we had been, I've taken Tyler to work, and it was 3 times in a row we drove, and we happened to create cars that just kept veering off the road and coming back on 3 times in a row. And I was like, wow. And I'm saying to Tyler the 3rd time, this is really interesting. This is the 3rd car with you and me in here, and we're going to work and stuff. And I said, since we've been back, and I said, what is the message in this? What are we missing? And it's irrelevant, but I said, in curiosity, I reckon if we put a few things out there, and when I come and pick you up tonight, if we don't have it happen, then we've nailed it, and it doesn't need to show us anymore. So we were just winging out different scenarios. And I said, what if it is that we move away, but we come back? Because none of these cars were extremely right off the road. They were just veering off and coming back and veering off and coming back. And so symbology is about us moving, but having the flexibility to come and go. And which incorporates all my weird symbols that past week that have come into play. So that's how I read life. And as Gabrielle had one day, we were sitting there, I think, outside in the cafe, and there was a bee in the tree, and I'd said something about the bee being very busy or something, doing nothing, and whatever it was doing, I don't know. But that's how I read. Everything is information for me about, and it can get too much. Don't get me wrong. It can get, if you couldn't cope with that way of thinking, it would do your friggin' head in. It's a choice that I play, and like if I was to go and play sport, that's where I'd play. But what I'm trying to share with you all is that information is always with us. It's always around us. The awareness and the information can be very simple, and the more we block it and don't deal with who we are, the harder that it comes to us. So therefore the physical ailments and stuff, which is what we all get, no one, I don't think, ever misses out, you know. The reality is that there's some really simple and fast healing solutions in awareness. As Patty's left the room. Once Gabrielle got her message and got some in, there's the balance of the movement and transition. And that's how fast it can move. So like she can go through a week of this, talk about it for 5, 10, 15 minutes and poof, gone.
Yeah. Funnily, he left just as he was sitting here drinking my herbal tea with me. And then as I took the last sip, he looked in the cup and then walked out. He's like, oh, cup of tea's over.
No. So what did we say? The easiest work is done over a cup of tea. And he's done it. Yeah.
Oh.
So I think just keeping life very simple and just being so aware of life talking to us, whether it's through work, whether it's through family, whether it's through whatever. Symbolically, Cindy, if we were to look back on the awareness of how busy a couple of weeks ago when we were talking to you and you dropped a worker and it got busy and the pressure and stuff and the stress load got on, and the awareness that as much as you're saying it's fine, subconsciously in your body it was saying no, it's not. At the core of your being was definitely saying no, it's not. So it's not surprising that be it, or I've never heard of this, injuries in sleep, that is to me a perfect alignment of the information telling you something about that.
Look, I've been quite aware of it for a very long time. It's like, this is my belief anyway, that there's signals, then you just, if you don't get it, the body's like, last, come on, we're going to make you see this. Yes. And I suppose tried to really work on that and be aware of that, but still it's when I'm busy and I don't stop and think, I'm just in the cycle of it, is when it plays out.
So you're on when you're running autopilot, which is very human. You know, like if you looked years ago, I did a percentage that pulled out of a number out of the ear, and I think when I wrote the book, and it was like 85% of humans run on autopilot. I don't think so much today because we've transitioned through a hell of a lot of awareness and self, but I do feel that we fall back into it very simply, very easy, and it's a choice, understandably so, but the habit and the more years we can justify to say, oh, well, that's why it's whatever. It's just the new creative habits. And look, honestly, with the awareness that you're playing in it's not letting you get away very long with it. Do you know? That's the new system that you're running is the signals are saying, you know, you could go for 6 months to a year without noticing, where now you're getting 2 weeks and it's waking you now, you know, in your sleep. So it's I think that's just a reflective of how far your own awareness has come, and even with the information we've shared tonight through the physical body book, which I think will help a lot of other people, their understanding, and because I, you know, even to my friend who's in the Gold Coast, as an athlete, it's not always what we think it is. It can be a deeper emotional stuff going on. So for scenarios with my husband's knees, I always say, is that your father's knee or your mother's knee? You know, or whatever, or, you know, or whatever, or, you know, and deal with. But you know, and if you listen to it, a lot of people are okay with it, but a lot of people don't want to deal with it, and they'll deny it, and it's just a freak thing, an accident happens, and blah blah blah. But when you look, when you're authentically honest with yourself and own your own shit, you can actually see that, and in an awareness that frequency, vibration, emotion in the muscle, in the cell, you know, all those experiences do exist. You can actually start fine-tuning and picking out those little bits and pieces. Yeah.
There is another book which I've had for probably 20 years. Louise Hay's got one, and she has affirmations to go with Yeah.
Yep.
But I haven't looked at it for ages. But yeah.
Oh well, maybe.
But I think I like that one.
Yeah, I like Innes because it's for me it's I probably utilised it. Louise is a bit more intense reading. This is very light for me. This is just gets to the point and then gives you a choice. You know?
What's it called? The language of the body.
Hop into bed.
Yeah. The secret language of your body. And it's in a seagull.
Awesome. Okay. Easy.
Yep.
Thank you.
Creator of visionary intuitive healing. Yeah. But no, I've found in the early days I used to use that a lot as an information centre. But now it's now I'm more about not so much about focusing on what's wrong, is that it's this information centre, that's there's changes going on within us, and therefore these give us an awareness and opportunity to move something through ourselves.
Yeah, and it makes sense that if you don't pick it up yourself or deal with it, that you might need a bit smarter.
Yeah, look, and honestly, each to their own. Look, someone's got some major illnesses and bits and pieces, and they go to a doctor and they get medication. It's all the same thing, because at the end of the day, it's just going to be what your belief system actually believes more in to be the outcome. Like if somebody believes a drug's going to fix them, a drug's going to fix them. As much as somebody believes thoughts create things. It really comes down to how, at the truth of your core being, what you truly believe. And look, honestly, I got this for Dad. Dad looked up cancer and read that out. And I thought when he read that out, I didn't really think much of it for him. But he went, oh, yep, okay. And I was like, oh, shit, really? Like, I couldn't really pinpoint any of that. So we don't know how this functions truly in somebody else's being. In the mindset and what they're really truly thinking. And when I was glad that he shared an understanding with me that he did have that. I didn't ask him which ones, it wasn't mine, but the awareness that he acknowledged that within me was enough to say, okay, he could totally understand. And
Ali, I've got a question for you based on that. So when you said so life tries to show you something, you don't get it. It shows in the physical. You go to the doctor, you get a prescription for it. You really believe in the prescription. You take a prescription and you feel better.
Yep.
But you still haven't got what life was trying to show you.
No, that's the plaster. That's the plaster. So what happens? That's what I wanted to. So the repercussions of that would be don't get it there. You've got the quick fix. The chances are, if your life changes and you change a lot of things around that it created you to change, that could be the shift that's needed. It could have been the trigger point that triggered you. Oh my God, I'm going to change my life because of. But if you take the tablet, it fixes it. But you haven't dealt with the core essence of your being, an understanding of what it's sharing, it will come in another format in another way.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. That's what I thought.
And often bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like you get little messages all the way, and if you don't get them, there's a big one, And and look, take it with a grain of salt. It's only a perspective, as we're saying, but that's what I've seen and what I understand to be. And there'll be contrast against it. I've like I said, I've got the kid's dad who's had how many brain tumours and stuff and been very angry, and so anger works for him. Do you know what I mean? And not that we'd want anything like what he's been going through, but. So there's always going to be contrast. I just think with the awareness I have and an understanding and what's played out in front of me, people that I've had a couple of people say to me, they know they've created it, they know they can uncreate it, and when they've said it, I've totally known that they're not going to uncreate it, and they've both passed away. But the reality is, what we say to ourselves and what we truly think is going to be the result. Because we've got that, you know, any inch of doubt, any seed of doubt is a field to grow trees. You know. So as is any positive, you know, fill it with positivity. I think there's a real key in that non-void of outcome and just playing. I think I'm kind of liking that field. So you just have no attachment to the outcome, and it is what it is. I've come to a very peaceful play field in that. Not trying to work out too much. Understand everything has a meaning. Understand everything that we've discussed today is a story. We could make it up and do whatever we like, but you know, and that creates a reality. So, so that's kind of. It's look, honestly, everything with a grain of salt. What works for you works for you. What doesn't. You've seen the placebo things. You've seen the, you know, that sort of statistics. You've seen. You can find. That's what I say to some. If you believe in something so strongly, you'll find a reason to believe it, and you'll find supporting evidence to back you. And if you want to find doubt about things, you'll find every evidence to doubt everything you've said. So it comes down to, you know, chill the fuck out and probably not get too wound about it, and enjoy it the best way you can. Bit of a ramble, but anyway, but that's that's where I reckon if it doesn't get you the first time, it just gets bigger.
Yeah, definitely.
My little man's come back in and he's just chilling on my lap here.
Oh well. He's in the vibe tonight.
He's really in the vibe. He's got his dummy in.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So any feedback on that? I actually think that's a really cool life reflective topic that we've covered.
I have a question for you, Al, on that.
Yep.
Because I was thinking about it because we talked a little bit about it last week, and then I was thinking about it with the story I shared on Groupology, which I think I shared in this space as well. And I was thinking, life is a reflection, and then I'm curious about the difference between when it's reflecting and then also when you react. So say if you're not reacting but you have or but you have a lot of, say, angry people around you but you're not reacting. Like my thing is, okay, that's fine. It's only if there's a repetition of a lot of angry people around you that maybe there's something there for you, even if you're not reacting. Or is it only if you react that there's something there for you?
Well, seeing them as angry is already a judgment of how a person is, isn't it, really? Because at the end of the day, it's a persona of how they choose to be. There's no wrong or right. You know, you're only seeing them as angry. That could be they're happy.
Awesome. Isn't that interesting? That is so interesting. So then if you reflect back on judgment, then you're actually trying to show yourself something.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that so makes sense. Oh my God.
Keep it simple, chick. Here's another take on this. You know, and we're talking about how life feeds us. Okay, how life plays. So you know, understanding the reflection and the reaction. So the difference in that will be the playground, right? Which will continue to play until you shift that reactive state, and then it becomes a different playground. So, like, if life's giving So if life's giving you chocolates and you're enjoying them, then they continue to give you chocolates. But if life's giving you shit and you're not enjoying that shit, it's going to give you more shit. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you like something or don't like something. Whatever's in your focus room, you're going to get more of, aren't you? So the difference of if you're in a really good space and you've got angry people coming in and around you, again, they can only be angry because you see them as angry. And if you're happy with describing them as angry as an association to the experience, so be it. If you have a reactive judgment of them being angry, then that would play out too. The more, like you said, the more that it keeps coming around, there's obviously information. It's like that car, like 3 cars that were going off and on, off and on, off and on. What is this? Like, seriously, dude, what are you trying to tell me? There's information and everything, but then, you've got to take that with a grain of salt and just that it is what it is. Don't get too hooked in it because it becomes more of it. It's just play with it as it becomes its. I think the reflective field and the angry thing that you're talking about, if you'd find just in the peace of who you are and just in the being, when you've come to peace with yourself as much as possible, those people tend to get less and less in your environment. And there's always, every time you go to organise a meetup, there's something else that just doesn't connect because the frequency is just not attracting that space. And so whatever, you could be functioning at, a radio station 1ZB and the other one could be on 98 FM sort of thing. And they're just not meeting because they're just playing 2 different games, 2 different musics, 2 different, experiences. So literally every time you try and meet up for coffee, it's not going to happen, or there's going to be something, or there'll be an interruption, or you'll take Paddy and Paddy will decide to pick a tantrum because he just doesn't want to be there. And there'll be just little bits and pieces that just change the whole scenario because it's just not compatible. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you like or dislike the person anymore. There's just an awareness that you both are experiencing life from a point of view that's working for you at that point with all the understanding that and you're just on different fields of play. One's in a stadium, one's out on the pitch.
Something I'm a little bit curious about when Gabrielle was saying, and I can see it's a judgment, and I know myself, and I might be with somebody and I'll be thinking they're angry. Can it be an observation with no emotional attachment to it? Or is that still a judgment?
Yeah, I agree. I at the end of the day. No. I love the clear. I love the clearing we're getting tonight. I agree.
I am.
I know. I agree with what you're saying. In awareness, there's a whole element. So I can look at the whole scale and see, this person. I've got to a point where it really doesn't matter how somebody tunes up. I just see them as I choose to see them. And at the end of the day, I get shown aspects, but it's not my focus. And it's because everything exists. Like, seriously, you can go out and you can see a friend and you're thinking, oh, this feels different. And then it's like, okay, I could stay there trying to work it out, or I can enjoy this moment.
Yeah.
But the awareness is also, are you picking up an aspect of, like, if somebody, as a hypothetical question, somebody's seeing someone angry, is there an anger aspect in yourself that's still viable, that you haven't even, that they're playing out, because we're all one, they're playing out that aspect in front of you as an aspect of self. Do you know what I mean? If you want to look at the whole, everything's one, everything's a mirror. That's the angry side of you. There's the happy side of you out there, and you can see all these aspects of you just playing away. And whatever one you're reacting to probably has a formula that's trying to shift within yourself. Do you know what I mean? Or make itself known.
Yeah. I was just curious. But it's not
I don't think there's a right or wrong in that. I actually think it can't be anything till we make it something.
Yeah. Like, I don't have an opinion. It was just, I was curious of. Yeah.
No, I think in sharing, like, what we're discussing is more relevant to those that are listening for their own curiosity and what you're bringing up. I think that's more the aspect of it. But yeah, no, I think the symbology for me, very simply, life is a reflection of ourself in being. So everything is a reflection of us, and whether it be the little ladybug on your hand that turns up and you can look at it, and and that could be a symbology as a animal and understanding. You can make it whatever you want, yet it could be just experiencing it for what it is. It too is having a life through its expression.
Yeah, and yeah. And it really just depends on your mood, doesn't it?
Yeah,
really?
it does. I think
if you want to see something in that moment, you can see, a multitude of things, or then you can just be in it, and it all, and that's the flow.
And I think the reality is how creative you want to be and where your focus is and what your habits have become. Because for me, it's like I have a lot of play fields, and I don't have a connected outcome. It's the limitless possibilities of all this information playing out around me, and we'll play in it because you just don't know what. It's the magic of it unfolding because you're participating in it by choice, and I think that's the excitement, and that's the excitement I'm seeing in my husband again, which, that's the formula I haven't seen for a very long time. And he doesn't even know whether we're going and what we're doing. Well, we do kind of know that that's our point of interest. But the unfoldment, and he's a lot more calmer and a lot more relaxed and a lot more chilled out about the whole process, whereas when I first sent him over here, he was a lot more, I've got to get a job, I've got to do this, how's it all going to work? Whereas now he's just like, don't know, but it's you just see the fun. He comes home, he's lit up, he's excited. It's just so and that's the magic. That's the magic, and I think that's where people get all about that controlled outcome. And there's definitely a playground for that. The positive affirmation, positive reinforcement, the focus, the board, the doing the things, all those. It all does. It all works. It's the whole thing comes down to how much belief you have, and then. Do you like run a controlled system, or do you like a playground that's just a bit more mysterious and magic? And you just, you're playing. I'm probably more that. I've done the focus board. I've done the. I'll focus on this, and this is what I'm going to get into stuff and bits and pieces. At the end of the day, I know that that's my playing field. That's already part of me. Yet the reality is now, wow. Let's just see. We'll do this, and see how it all rolls and whatever. And we're just putting out. It just you've got no idea, and that's that for me. That's exciting because you wake up, but that's how you wake up to every day. You wake up every day and you look outside and you don't know whether you're going to get up at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Doesn't really matter. But when you get up, it's when you
go to bed,
when you open your eyes.
Do you want to go and find Dada?
Later today, when you open your eyes, it's however you choose to see it. And just as you close your eyes, it's whatever that last thought and whatever that last playground becomes that reality, and that's what you add to the mix while you're sleeping. I thought that was pretty cool because you'd asked to go to sleep. So I said, So as Patty goes to sleep tonight, that's the whole, share that understanding is, what's the beauty and the love and the appreciation and the gratitude. And that becomes steps for the next. And that's a program playground because that's what you're formulating.
Yeah.
You can run life program by choice.
Yeah.
Or you can play it as a mysterious unfolding, yet knowing it's all happening and it's all perfect.
It's so much more fun.
Yeah.
It's so heaven.
There's no right or wrong. Do you know what I mean?
No, for me, like I must say I play in both.
Yes.
And I enjoy both.
Yeah, same.
But the fun being in the flow, the ease of it is just a relief.
Not forcing or or having that schedule of this is how I've got to do, and this is how I'm meant to be. I wake up and this is what I say. At the end of the day, you're already all that anyway. That's I think once getting out of the program, you're already all that. So mine's probably more the curiosity, and I think this week's been a very much reflection of symbology playing, whereas Gabrielle's has been family in front of her playing, and yours has been more bodily playing, but they're all the same. They're all giving us information of life and reflection.
I love, Ali, that you just touched on the whole vision board and anyway, and the difference but the similar, that it's the same but it's different. And
that's
I like hearing that. I've not sorry go.
Go.
No, I was just going to say, my experience, even this week, I've had some magical things manifest where I was like, it's just been a simple, like, I said about a month ago to Fergal, oh, babe, I'd love to get a piano because Patty seems really interested in playing the piano.
Yep.
And then I had a girlfriend over for a cup of tea, and she said this week, and she said, oh, do you guys want a piano? And I was like, what?
and that's the simplicity without, it's already, the only thing blocking at us is thinking how it's going to happen. And so once you remove that and you go, this is what you like, and you let it go, because it's already here, it's just lining up that moment when you're in that vibe and being open to how, many ways of it happening, not just one directional play.
Yeah.
And
it's and the only thought I'd given it was, oh, maybe one of my siblings have one, I could ask them, but I didn't even get to that. I was just like,
we didn't have to. And I think that is a reflective vibrational playground that you play in, the more, and that is, let's face it, semi-programmed to awareness, and then recognizing awareness, and then going, okay, how much do we need to control this? And you're stepping out, and as soon as so that control, even from the affirmation game that we play to the thing, is you're letting that go. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm all of it already, so why do I need to try and be anything more?
So I see what you're saying, and I think I just kind of got something because I've struggled with it.
Share it.
It was, sometimes I want something, and then I think, well, how can that happen? But if I'm but I loved the way you said, I don't need to control this.
Yeah.
I can just let it happen. And that's where I haven't been able to do that because I haven't known how to. So that terminology just kind of freed it all up.
Awesome.
It just made it make sense.
Awesome. Okay. I think we might call it a night, let Patty go to bed. Thank you for coming along, Patty. And
he says good night.
No, Patty.
Good night, everyone. He can't hear. I've got
no. Thanks. He was great reflection, and I think it was really important. Good share. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. We'll catch up with you when we catch up with you. Nice to see you again, Cindy.
You too. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah.
No.
Thanks, love.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.